This is Sean O'Malley, and you're watching Full-Time MMA. Don't be a bagel biting, bagel bitch boy, bagel bitch back.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, because you know what time it is. It's full time
MMA.
Now let's get into the UFC Sao Paulo Nadav vs Santos main card breakdown and predictions. We just broke down the full Fight Pass and Fox Sports 2 prelims. Those are going to be located at the Full-Time MMA Dojo over on Patreon. Make sure to check those out. You can check them out for free if you can't afford, the little pass to help support the channel. It's still free over there, but there is an option. But that's another topic for another day. You can still check them out for free. Just go to patreon.com/fulltimemma, and 3 days after we post them, they are completely available for free to the public. And so let's check this out now. We got the main card, man. Salute to the full-time family. Of course, before we get started, we're going to open up the main card with Marko, who's going to be taking on Marina Rodriguez. Marina Rodriguez is a dangerous Muay Thai striker. She's finished her opponent in the first round in her fight on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series to earn her UFC contract, but now she's taking on her toughest test to date for sure in Marko, who's been fighting legit strawweight competition in the UFC now for almost 4 years. This is a really tough fight to call for me because Marina had a great Muay Thai in her fight. If you've watched her fights and some of her footage, she's got great Muay Thai, man. She's got great stand-up danger. She can finish you. But Marko has more experience and is also more well-rounded, as she likes to mix in takedowns in her fights. So I'm going to give the edge to Randa, although I feel like it's possible she could get robbed if this fight goes to decision and they keep the Brazilian undefeated. She's got some solid striking, and she's fighting at home, so if this is a decision, I could very well see Marko getting robbed here. But I think if all goes right, I think she's going to be more well-rounded, be able to put together a game plan, mix in some takedowns, and potentially either win this fight with a submission or with a decision. But like I said, Marina could also win this fight with a robbery decision, or maybe even a knockout if she's able to get Marko in one of those nasty Muay Thai clinches and bring some of those knees up like she likes to do. She got some nasty elbows, nasty knees, and some good stand-ups. So we'll see what happens. I think it'll be a good scrap, though. Moving on to the next fight, we got the former UFC Bantamweight champion. Holy shit, you guys. This fight, I really thought, and I didn't even, whenever I made these predictions, I didn't even know the odds were out. In between recording the video and doing the research for the video, the odds came out. And so I've looked at them since then. And when I was making my prediction, I actually expected Henry Brow to be more of a favorite, dog. He's lost 4 of his last 5 fights, but goddamn, this dude is a former UFC Bantamweight champion we're talking about here. And his opponent has been insanely active. You don't even understand. I'm going to break it down for you. This guy had 7 fights last year. He's been insanely active, but he hasn't really fought anybody on the level of a former UFC Bantamweight champion. So holy smokes. And the odds have this fight really close, so that's kind of interesting. So Andre Ewell, man, he must be really impressing people out here. He's been so active. Like I said, he had 7 fights in 2017, and he's already 3-0 in 2018. So he's had 10 fights in the last 2 years, and he's about to fight his 11th. He's currently riding a 4-fight finishing streak, but he's making his UFC debut, Andre Ewell. Renan Barão is 1-4 in his last 5 fights, but he's been losing to some really tough bantamweights. TJ Dillashaw, Jeremy Stephens, Aljo Sterling, and Brian Kelleher. And he fought Jeremy Stephens, I believe, at featherweight, because Jeremy Stephens is not a bantamweight. But either way, Aljamain Sterling, Brian Kelleher, I mean, he's lost some fights, but they're the best bantamweights in the world. So with that being said, Barão, he's clearly not been as active as his competition, because I don't think anybody on the planet has been active as Andre Ewell. But he has been fighting a lot higher level competition, and as a former UFC Bantamweight champion, I've got to go with the more experienced, established veteran here. Only way I see Barão losing this fight is if he gets caught and gets knocked out. But as a super experienced veteran with 40 pro fights, I don't see him just getting knocked out, you know what I'm saying, that easily. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going with Barão in this fight. Moving on to Sam Alvey versus Little Nog, Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. Little Nog, he's one of the 3 fighters alongside Junior Dos Santos and Marcos Rogerio de Lima, who were recently proved innocent in their USADA case, but he's been out now for 2 years, and he's taking on the very tough Sam Alvey, who's 5-2 in that time. And he's currently riding a 2-fight winning streak over Marcin Prachnio and John Vellante, Sam Alvey is. So I got to give the edge to Alvey in this fight. He's 10 years younger, also more experienced, and he's not coming off of a 2-year break. I think Alvey wins this fight unless he loses a robbery decision in Brazil. But I think he can win this fight. I think he should win this fight. But you never know. Like I said, man, you never know what the judges are watching, what they're looking for, if they're being biased some night, if they're, what the hell's going on. So I'm giving the edge to Sam Alvey, though. And I think if he gets a win here, he's really good at doing call outs. I don't know who he'd call out. Last time he called out Corey Anderson, it didn't work for him. But before that, it worked for John Vellante. And I don't have any prediction as far as who he's going to call out. But I do think if Sam Alvey wins this fight, he might have a location. When doing my research, I seen he was from Wisconsin, and actually at the end of the year, the UFC has a card coming up there. Now, I know Sam Alvey would love to fight in Madison Square Garden at UFC 230. I think he's called for that in the past. So I think on the mic, though, if he can get this win, I think Nogueira, you know, he's got to be careful for a submission by Little Nog for sure. But I think if Alvey can get this win, he'll either call for a fight at Madison Square Garden or Wisconsin. Just a little bonus prediction as well. We'll see what happens, though. Smiling Sam Alvey, very talented, former middleweight, moved up to light heavyweight. We'll see how he does against Little Nog, who's coming back off a 2-year suspension. Not 2-year suspension, but a 2-year break. And he was suspended, but he was proved innocent. So that's a shitty situation always. But moving on to the co-main event, we got Alex Oliveira taking on Carlo Pedersoli. Carlo Pedersoli Jr. is coming off of 2 split decision wins over Nicholas Dalby and Bradley Scott. But before that, he wasn't fighting very experienced guys. Cowboy Oliveira is 3-1 in his last 4 fights in the UFC, and he's a very dangerous welterweight who can knock you out, submit you, or win a decision. I'm for sure picking Cowboy to win this fight. He's more experienced. Also, he's been fighting a lot higher level competition throughout his career. But we got to move to the main event. I mean, for me, that co-main event's pretty not too hard of a decision. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised if Oliveira is a bigger favorite in that fight because he's very fucking tough at welterweight, taking on pretty much a newcomer. So yeah, man, main event. Let's get to it. Jimmy Manuwa versus Thiago Santos. Holy shit, dude! It took me like 30 minutes. I was racking my brain. I don't know who's gonna win this fight. Holy shit, you guys. I was done with my predictions almost, and I literally had to sit here for 30 minutes on this one because I didn't know who to predict. And what's crazy is it's just a fucking prediction. If you get it wrong, who gives a fuck? It happens sometimes. But I like to at least give an educated guess, and it took me 30 fucking minutes or more to put together my educated guess for this fight. Holy shit. But you can see him giving the edge to Thiago Santos, man. Jimmy Manuwa is the number 5 ranked light heavyweight. Thiago Santos, the number 12th ranked middleweight, coming up to light heavyweight. If you just looked at it right there, you'd go, oh, that's easy. Jimmy Manuwa's going to win. What do you mean? The higher ranked guy from the higher division, the other guy's coming up? Why is that even close? Man, you kind of have a point, but it's not that simple here for sure. This is a really tough fight to call, man. Jimmy Manuwa is one of the top 10 light heavyweights in the UFC. He hasn't looked great in his last 2 fights. He got knocked out by Volkan Ozdemir, then he lost the unanimous decision to Jan Blachowicz, which was fight of the night, but he lost it back in March. Thiago Santos is coming up from middleweight with the recent win at UFC 227 over Kevin Holland, who took that fight on short notice, I believe. But either way, Thiago Santos is a fucking beast, man. He's 5-1 in his last 6 fights at middleweight, and 4 of those were all knockouts. But he hasn't been fighting guys as big as Jimmy Manuwa, of course, because he's been fighting at middleweight. But he's still very dangerous. Now, with that being said, both of these guys, Jimmy Manuwa and Thiago Santos, of their last 3 losses, 2 of them have came by way of KO TKO. So both of them have been knocked out twice in their last 3 losses. Not their last 3 fights, their last 3 losses. But Jimmy Manuwa is maybe a little more brutal, you could say. That Rumble Johnson one definitely, and then the Volkan Ozdemir one. but he's fighting a smaller, somewhat smaller guy, because Thiago Santos, although he's a middleweight, he's always been huge for that middleweight division. Oh, so like I said, man, fuck it. I'm giving the edge to Thiago Santos. He's always been a big-ass middleweight. He's moving up a weight class. He'll be a little faster, and he can definitely knock out Jimmy Manuwa or win a decision at home if he doesn't get knocked out himself by the striking veteran Jimmy Manuwa. Now, with that being said, I don't really see Thiago Santos shooting for any takedowns in this fight. Jimmy Manuwa, more experienced striker, kickboxer, that's going to suit him. It's good when he doesn't have to worry about his opponent shooting for a takedown. He gets to focus on his striking. And he's very dangerous with this striking. Just because he's on a 2-fight losing streak, before that he knocked out OSP, knocked out Corey Anderson. So Jimmy Manuwa, even though he's 37 years old, he's not done. Thiago Santos is like 34. It's not like he's just way younger than him. It's a fucking tough fight, man. It's really tough. This is one of those fights, man. I really don't know. I was so close to picking Jimmy, but we're in Brazil. I think since we're in Brazil and the possibility of it going to decision, maybe that gives Santos that much more of a chance. I don't know, man. It's dangerous. I think there's a lot of people out here that really think Jimmy Manuwa is just going to get knocked out in this fight. And I just don't know if that's the case. So we'll see what happens, though. I am going to give the edge to Santos, but I probably would not bet on this fight if I were you or anybody else. I don't know, man, unless you're super confident one way or the other, but I don't know how you could be. Tough fight, great main event. That's really, honestly, that makes for a great main event when you don't know who's going to win, right? When it's that fucking close. So that being said, UFC Sao Paulo is going to be going down, I believe, on September 22nd. And that's the last fight before UFC 229 McGregor versus Khabib, which is going to be lit. So with that being said, man, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, do your boy a favor. Don't be a baby back bagel biting bitch boy. Hit the thumbs up and also subscribe if you're new. It'd be much appreciated. And holy flying flipping flapjacks, full-time family, we've got a change of plans in the main event of UFC Sao Paulo. Right before I went to upload the video, I just broke down the previous main event, Jimmy Manuwa taking on Thiago Santos. In the process of uploading the prelim video, I checked Twitter and I see Ariel Helwani reports that Eric Anders is going to be stepping in the main event at UFC Sao Paulo on 1 week's notice. He's going to be taking on Thiago Santos, and I have a completely different take on this fight because, of course, it's a completely different fight. Holy smokes, I just previously predicted Thiago Santos to defeat Jimmy Manuwa. I mean, and I'm going to leave that breakdown so I don't have to explain why. I gave the definition why. There's multiple reasons, but this is a different fight. Eric Anders, for one, is a lot younger and also has never been knocked out, which is different than Jimmy Manuwa. And so I don't feel like if Thiago Santos just lands a clean shot here, if he's able to touch Anders' chin, he's necessarily going to be able to get the finish. Thiago Santos is coming off a very impressive win over Kevin Holland, but that was a fight he was supposed to win. It was honestly kind of surprising he wasn't able to get the finish to some people, but either way, Thiago Santos did look good in that fight, but he's been fighting at 185. Eric Anders is a big boy, and he's also very athletic for 205 pounds. Of course, being a former Alabama football player, won the national title over there, Roll Tide, you know, all that shit. And this is his second time actually coming over to Brazil as well. He's been to Brazil. He actually fought Lyoto Machida in a headline fight in Brazil, and he lost a split decision there. A lot of people felt like he got robbed. He was able to score 3 takedowns in that fight, but Lyoto Machida was able to outstrike him. So, and they were in Brazil. Lyoto got his hand raised. That was Eric Anders' first loss of his career, previously undefeated, and since then he knocked out Tim Williams in a devastating fashion with that. It looked like he punted. I mean, he kicked him in the face on the way up. It was like perfect timing because Tim Williams' hand just came off the mat, so it was legal. But it was a great performance by Eric Anders, and now he's going to be coming in here against Thiago Santos, who has been taken down in some of his previous fights. Now, he's knocked out 4 of his last 5 wins. As far as in his last 6 fights, he's got 5 wins, 4 of those by knockout. But like I said, Eric Anders, he could knock Eric Anders out. He could be the first to do it. He is going to be at light heavyweight. He is a powerful guy. But if he's not able to knock Eric Anders out, I could very well see Eric Anders utilizing the grappling heavy game plan to try and take Thiago Santos down and control him. Also keep in mind, Eric Anders is used to striking, getting hit, and hitting and getting hit by bigger guys as a light heavyweight. So that he's been hit by powerful guys. Thiago Santos being a powerful middleweight doesn't mean he's going to be able to knock out Eric Anders just because he's knocked out so many guys before. Eric Anders is used to being hit by bigger guys. He spars with bigger guys, and also he might have the better grappling in this fight, being a very explosive and athletic light heavyweight who scored multiple takedowns in previous fights. So with that being said, I'm actually going to give the edge to Eric Anders. I don't think the short notice is going to bother him. I think he's really going to have the same sort of game plan, whether he fights this week, whether he fights next month. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a game plan of trying to get to you and put you out, and if he can get you to the ground, he's going to try to do that no matter who he fights. You know, he's going to continue to work on his game, and he's dangerous. It's not like, you know, having that game plan or whatever game plan he puts together. He's always going to be dangerous. Short notice, 1 month from now, Eric Anders will always be dangerous. So he was already looking for a fight to sometime soon, so he's probably in shape. There was a fight he called out, I believe, Elias Theodorou, and actually Elias Theodorou's opponent recently fell out of the fight, and he posted an emoji like, yo, I'm ready to step in type shit. But now Jimmy Manuwa's out, and this is a bigger opportunity for Eric Anders, because maybe Elias Theodorou might have been ranked in the top 15. I'm not sure. Maybe that would have been a good fight. It would have got him in the top 15 in his division, but this is a main event spot, so it's going to give him a lot more promotion, you know, and it's also going to give him maybe some favor with the UFCs being willing to step up, take this fight on short notice, and save this main event. So that's dope. It's going to be a great matchup. We got two fucking beasts colliding. Thiago Santos at home definitely can win this fight by knockout, maybe even a decision if it's close, you know, being in Brazil. But whew, we got a fight on our hands now. We had one previously, so it is what it is, man. Shit happens, and now we got a new main event. Eric Anders versus Thiago Santos, UFC Sao Paulo. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments.
Da 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 da! It's the motherfucking DOWG!